Hi, campaigners. Welcome to Campaign Mode.
A gaming podcast meant for marketers to better understand the industry.
We are your hosts. I'm Sammy Barnett, head of gaming at TMA.
Morgan Bridges, account supervisor at TMA.
If you have any questions, want to reach out to collab, all of our information is down below. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast.
We hope you enjoy.
Hello, fellow campaigners. How are we doing today? We're back
Hey,
in the
everyone.
cloud, bringing you another exciting episode. So today we're going to be breaking down authenticity versus pandering. Basically, the marketing do's and don'ts in gaming.
Yikes.
This is going to be a juicy one that you're going to
I know
hear.
you're not going to want to listen, but I'm going to need you to lean in and
Lean in
listen.
and listen. I think authenticity is a word that we hear a lot, not just in gaming, but when it comes to
Be
influencers.
authentic.
Yeah.
But what does that even mean?
I think
Sammy's going to tell you. Sorry.
Morgan had too much coffee this morning, I think. But here we go. So just to kind of reground in the audience, gaming or gamers, fellow gamers are super loyal. They're passionate about the space. They're very supportive, but they will be the first to sniff out any authenticity. I think any brands that come off as cringe, they'll call them out.
Yeah. And again, I think we've said this, like every brand has a space to play in gaming. So they're going to welcome you if you do it right.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing here is like, we don't want to scare you away from the audience. But it's just why it's even more important to make sure you understand it before you jump in.
Yeah.
Feet first.
And I like that you said they're going to welcome you because they are. If you do it right in the space, they have proven to be purchasers of the brand that they respect and that they feel seen by in the space. 86% of gamers are influenced to purchase a brand or product that invests significantly in the gaming space. So you do it the right way. You kind of
You'll
build
see the
this community.
benefits.
Yeah, you reach this community. You will see the benefits. You will drive ROI. So it's super important to be authentic and show up in the space in that way. I think so. We talked about what authenticity means. How we'll get into deeper examples, but the pitfall of pandering. I think just to define that, it's when brands come off as cringy or out of touch.
Yeah.
I.e. saying, "Hey, noob."
Yeah, it's when you're trying to when you do an ad or when you have a placement and on a media platform that's gaming focused and you try to lean too hard into their that genre without really understanding it. I just to give a perfect example, there was a big brand that had a gaming focused spot that came out, and the actual content of the spot was not reviewed or approved by an actual person who understood gaming because there were so many little things that gamers were like, "Well, we would never do that. Are you kidding? Was this written by AI?" It just was like, how many stereotypes can we fit into this spot? And that's where we see a lot of brands kind of those pitfalls, like you said.
My favorite comment on that video was, "I think my grandpa could have written better copy." So they will go hard on you. So how can we make sure we're not taking any missteps as brands in gaming? Luckily for you, your campaign mode gals are here to break it down.
We're here to tell you.
Okay, so let's start off with the do's.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Coffee girl. Okay, so your biggest thing, I think this is the most important thing that you can do, is do your research to understand the audience.
Yes.
Know, as a brand, you have your target audience. You know who you're going after. So it's not a,
It's not a one size fits all.
no, it's not. So you generally are like, okay, I'm going after Gen Z females who, enjoy
Skincare,
crafting or
crafting.
skincare, whatever. You have your audience. So do the research of who is that in the gaming world? What kind of titles are they playing? What kind of influencers are they watching? It's, it's all about aligning with the audience and not inserting.
Yeah.
So that means show up in after you've done your research, you're kind of going to better understand how you're showing up and what you're wanting to, defining your role is super important. What's the takeaway? Once you do that research, you should be additive to the space and not disruptive.
Yeah.
So,
That's the number one thing I would say is that people say, I'm going to target the gaming audience. They
mhm,
go so broad, you're not talking to anyone.
mhm,
So that is so important, like you just said. Finding who they are within the gaming space is the first thing to do.
mhm. Yeah, and I think with like messaging and copy, that's super important. If you are wanting to go broad, you can
There are ways to do
yeah,
it, but
it's gaming is just like it's such a big audience, but then it's also niche in the way that, we've talked about all the different types of genres and stuff.
yeah,
So, um, but I think having that main central role as a brand allows you to go more broad across all the different
totally.
ways to show up. So again, number one, research. Number two, take us away.
This is, as we said in the last episode and the episode before, and Sammy said in the episode before and the episode before, her biggest takeaway here is that gaming has to be an essential part of your marketing mix. You have to treat it as so. It is not a afterthought. It is not something that you take your general brand campaign, where you have a sports leg, and just throw it on the gaming platforms. That is not the way to do this. You cannot just create a gaming version of your holistic spots.
Mhm,
It's not a copy and paste. There are certainly things that you're going to have to do that are more after you research, yes, it can fit within your brand narrative, but you can't just take one spot and put it on a gaming platform and say it's going to work here too.
mhm. Exactly. There are what, 2%, I don't have the exact number. I think it's, nearly 3/4 of Americans over the age 13 are gaming are enthusiasts. They interact with gaming in some way. So imagine treating 3/4 of Americans as an afterthought when it comes to your marketing
Yeah.
strategy. It should be a primary thought, and I will keep saying it.
I think also too, like if you're thinking about a larger campaign, if you have, um, a partner that you're working with, I think one thing about the TMA team and our
TMA way.
TMA way and our gaming approach is that we're all about making sure there's a idea before a partner,
Mhm.
um, because you don't want to be backed into a gaming execution just because this partner brought me a really kind of like
Yeah.
fun way in. I guess I'll just go that way. You need to be secure in what that idea is and then go find the right partners to make that
Mhm.
idea work.
And, talking about this like broad trying to be more broad in gaming, if you have a big idea, first, not only does it allow the brand to stay at the forefront, it allows you to take that idea and break it out into a 360 wheel within gaming.
Yeah.
Like, it is your idea. You can make it work with streamers, with a title, with, a streaming platform. Like, there's so many different
Live event.
ways you can break out that big idea as opposed to if you're retrofitting yourself into what a partner brings for you. So that's a big mentality that we have, like
Yeah.
she said, of like figuring out the big idea and then figuring out what partners make sense to help you execute. And I think another note here, success in gaming is not built through just partnerships or media alone.
Yeah.
It's a perfect merriment. Is
Yeah.
that a word? Merriment? A perfect
Marriage,
marriage of the two.
marriage.
I'm getting nods and confusion in the room, so we're gonna go with marriage.
The
Media and
audience says
sponsorships
marriage.
media and sponsorships are the crux of everything. So you have both. You have a perfect plan there. All right. The last do to cover is collaborating with the right partners and the right talent. There are so many options for streamers, influencers, esports orgs. I think, doing your research on where you wanna show up and the type of audience you wanna hit in gaming is obviously major key, but second to that, re researching these influencers and talent that you're working with to make sure that they align with your brand and
Their audience.
their audience and
Yeah,
community align with your brand, because your messages will just be so much more well received. Um, we talked about authenticity. Like, if you're partnering with
a creator.
a creator that is has a hefty esports audience and you're, talking to them about a makeup brand.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's gonna be, I mean, maybe, but
maybe.
you gotta research. You have to, if you want your messaging to resonate with this audience. So working with someone like our team who can do
Help you,
that
yeah.
for you and help you figure out which are the right creators. I think harnessing the power of these audiences only works if it's authentic.
Yeah, and the easiest way to we're gonna I think just go ahead and do a counter of the times we say authentic here, but the easiest way to be so is to actually work with the creator, collaborate with them. Nobody knows their community like they do. Let them have creative control. I know as brands, it's very
It's
scary
scary.
to say, a lot of times when we go to creators, we say, here, this is what we want you to do it. That is not ever going to get you. I mean, overall, influencers
Mhm.
overall, that's not a great way to do it, but especially in the gaming community,
Mhm.
listen to them. Like, don't be too controlling. If they come back to you and say, hey, I have an idea of how this is going to work best, it's likely that they know best what's going to resonate well.
Exactly.
So that's let go of the reins a little bit.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Um,
think what works best for each brand is only gonna make it more powerful and a bigger
totally.
program. Um, but we so often like, we give them what? Guardrails,
Yeah.
brand
Like,
guidelines, and maybe some do's and don'ts, and then we're like,
what do you
go back
think?
and forth. Yeah, how do you wanna so I
Yeah.
think, like you said, working with them and letting them be a part of the creative
Yeah.
planning aspect is only gonna go so much
We've
further.
seen so much better content out of creators that we give less to
Mhm.
than creators that we're super prescriptive with.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. And then this kinda goes along in the same vein, but give back to the community. Like, that's a big do
yes.
too. This, audience, they just wanna be heard, they wanna be understood. It's a very close-knit community, so we said align, don't interrupt. Like, aligning meaning be additive, and the best way to be additive is to give back to them.
How can you this is I mean it's a hard economy right now.
Mhm.
Hard economy?
But I think that sounds really good.
It's a
Coming live from the White House, Morgan says it's a
from the
hard
stock
economy.
exchange, it's a hard economy. What does that mean? No.
No.
Times are tough, okay? And the easiest way that you can build good brand, like, sentiment or good sentiment with this crowd is give back to them. What can you give them for free? Can you give away a gaming setup? Can you give them back stuff in game? What in
Uh-huh.
game currency can you give them?
Skins.
A new way to express themselves on when you're doing live streams. Can you drop subs
Mhm.
for the community? Like always think about how I can give them value both from like an entertainment perspective, but also literal value.
Mhm.
Um,
Gamers are already purchasing skins, and that's something like, or in-game items, and that's something that's sought
yeah,
after from them. So if you're, one, giving them a branded skin or whatever it may be, not only are you giving them something for free, but now your brand is walking around in game.
yeah, then now they can
So
rep you.
they can rep you. They can be brand ambassadors on their own.
Exactly.
So think about that as part of your strategy and your plan.
So, Sammy, we talked about the
The
do's.
do's,
Let's get into the
the
don'ts.
don'ts, perhaps.
Let's don't do it.
I think we already touched on this first one, but I want to hit on it again. Don't overuse buzzwords or gamer technology,
Gamer slang.
gamer slang. Using noob or GLHF, good luck, have fun, doesn't mean that you understand gaming always. You don't have to use those words.
You
You can
don't.
just come off as a normal human and let, the influencers or the community surround what you're doing with their slang.
Yeah.
If it does fit, and sometimes it does fit.
Sometimes it does
It
fit, and
does fit.
sometimes after you've done your research and you really know the space, there are funny ways that you can make it work.
Mhm.
But do not force it.
Yeah.
You do not have to have a new tagline for gamers. You don't you just don't have to use that language.
Mhm.
Let's say it again. You don't
Mhm.
have to use the language.
Insert "Hello, fellow gamers" into
Yes.
that GIF
Insert
into
that
or
meme.
meme. Thank you. This goes hand in hand with that, but misrepresenting gamers.
Yeah. Do not show them as a stereotypical guy with no job in his mom's basement on a
Or a
couch.
guy. It could be a girl,
Oh,
like,
or girl.
yeah,
You
use
said
a
or
girl.
guy.
No, I said or don't use or like a guy in general.
Gotcha, gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. See, there I was using stereotypes right here.
Misrepresenting. No, I'm just kidding.
Um, like we've you can go back to our episode 3 where we talk about all types of gamers. But don't misrepresent them. Don't use the stereotypes.
Yeah.
Just don't.
It's like goes all back to them wanting to be understood and heard. So those are some just baseline
Yeah.
do's and don'ts. Okay, this next one is big. I
This might be
think
a controversial take by Sammy Barnett.
okay, I think as marketers, we are programmed to win in the space, right? We want to take home all of the awards. That's something that
We all want a pat on the back.
right. And everybody wants their work to be seen. So I get it. I think we should continue going after these awards and these buzzworthy moments. But there's a world in gaming in which you can authentically reach the audience and still drive buzz or win an award.
It does not have not every activation you do with gamers has to be brand new.
We all want to be a brand of a first, right?
Yes,
But yeah, sorry I interrupted you. I
that's
feel
okay.
like you were going on a
No, I
okay.
was just saying, like, and Tammy said it best when we were talking about this. Winning awards does not win the audience. Like we said, there are some activations where that's perfectly acceptable. It's big, it's brand new, you have a great idea, but that shouldn't be your first like KPI. It shouldn't
Mhm.
be this, we want to earn buzz and win awards for this. It should
Mhm.
be, does this resonate with the audience? Because otherwise, you are going to come off as inauthentic if your campaign doesn't, actually align to the space.
Right. Yeah, I think like going about it of like working with the right people, powerful messaging, something that's brick to forehead, like all of these things can then later win an award. But I think the planning for a gaming campaign to be award winning from the jump isn't going to win
The
gamers'
hearts and
attention,
minds. Yeah.
right? You're not building equity. You're not building brand affinity with these. I think you should be focused on the player first. I think that's a big thing
Yeah.
for all across gaming is have player first mentality. You should be going for what is going to benefit the audience on behalf of my brand. How can we think about players in the forefront and then winning awards in the back end,
Yeah.
right? So it's just you can I still think we should all be winning awards and going for that, but I think that's a afterthought
Yeah.
for sure. Okay, so the last don't that we want to talk about is what happens if you stumble on a misstep. I think we talked at the beginning. We've seen brands, of course, and content that hasn't gone the way that brands want it to. And then after, you just kind of hear silence from them.
They run away.
hmm Don't run away.
Don't.
We need another ticker for how many times I say this, but the audience that wants to be heard and understood wants to be heard and understood.
Yeah.
If they're, you know, coming after you with, accusing you of not being authentic or calling out your brand for anything, hear them and come back in response in a fun, quippy,
The worst
if
thing
your
you
tone is serious, come
Yeah.
back in a serious response. But they appreciate that. Like that builds respect in the
Yeah.
community
The worst thing you can do is like, I'm gonna put my toe in gaming. I make a misstep and then I'm just gonna scamper away.
and never go in gaming again.
That proves that you didn't actually understand where you were stepping. So
hmm
having that like kind of fun back to back of like, hey, we're marketers. Sorry,
hmm
have some fun with it. Like I think gamers definitely would appreciate that way more than just running away.
Yeah. And I think, like,
That just proves your point, their point.
right. And one big thing is the word authenticity and being authentic doesn't mean perfect.
Yeah,
It means you understand and you respect. So
totally.
I think coming back as we're not gamers, but here's some free stuff. Or like,
Yeah.
like I think obviously I'm not a copywriter, so don't ever take my copy advice. But I think
Sammy, you can write copy.
I wear a lot of hats. I think there's a fun way to do it. And I hate when I see a brand that doesn't really hit the mark in the space and then you never see them again because I just obviously am passionate about the space and I think there's ways to build a relationship. I mean, think about relationships.
Yeah.
They're not perfect. You got to come back, apologize, treat it as a relationship.
And now we have transformed into a relationship podcast.
Mhm.
We're going to
Aw.
get into each other's dating lives here next.
Oh boy. Okay, so we've talked about a lot today. So we're going to recap some quick takeaways. First being take the time to do your research and understand the space. Very important.
Understand them. Don't try to change gaming culture to align with your brand's culture. You must find a role that fits in and enhances the gaming culture overall. So don't try to co opt their culture to make it fit with your brand.
Hmm. Nicely said. And then lastly, authenticity is not about being perfect. Authenticity is about understanding the space and respecting the culture. And those that do and show up in that manner will win in the space. Cool.
Awesome. That was fun. Let's speed
Yes.
run.
Let's speed run it. Do you want to remind everyone what speed
Yeah.
run is?
Speed run is just some quick hits of what's going on in gaming culture. Quick hits. So we're just going to read off some of the big things here.
These are all recaps of articles where you will find the links in our description below. So, kicking us off in 2025, mobile gaming marketing is expected to transform by AI driven content creation, significantly reducing ad production costs and reshaping user acquisition and retention approaches. Lots of big words, but basically, AI and mobile gaming are going to reshape the industry using techniques that speed things up. I think that's kind of the theme of
Yeah, it's
AI.
going to be easier for brands to get into the mobile gaming space
Hmm.
because AI is going to speed it up.
Speed it up.
Snoop Dogg's Xbox 2024 year in review highlighted his deep engagement with gaming, particularly with Madden, reinforced his status as a key cultural figure in the space. His past viral gaming moments, like rage quitting Madden on stream, showcase how celebrities can drive conversation and engagement around gaming brands. Let's go, Snoop.
Snoop Doggy Dog. Okay, third article, Power Wash Simulator. Does everyone remember that? Has announced an upcoming collab with beloved British duo Wallace and Gromit, introducing new maps inspired by their adventures. This partnership continues the game's trend of engaging crossovers, following previous collaborations with franchises like Tomb Raider and Final Fantasy. People eat these simulator games up.
I
I
love
love it.
Power Wash Simulator. It's
Hmm.
so relaxing. At CES 2025, Sony unveiled its Future Immersive Entertainment Concept, or FIEC for short, introducing synth integration to enhance gaming immersion. While this innovation aims to deepen player engagement, it has elicited mixed reactions, with some gamers expressing skepticism about the practicality and desirability of incorporating smells into gaming experiences. Can you imagine the smell of some of these games? Do I want to smell Assassin's Creed IRL? I don't think so.
I don't want to smell a lot of things.
Call of Duty?
Yeah.
Blood?
But
No
it's
thanks.
definitely getting the people talking for sure.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
How usable is it? I don't know.
Yeah. Have to stay tuned on
We'll have
that
to stay
one.
tuned.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us for this episode. I think we've talked a lot about what we've seen brands do, what we like, kind of some examples we didn't. But leave us a comment of your favorite brand activation you've seen in gaming that you think really hits that authenticity mark.
Yeah.
Cool.
Comment below. Subscribe and save. Thanks,
Thanks. See you next time.
campaigners. Bye.
Bye.